Why cultural sociology matters in therapy. Culture is often described as the invisible force that shapes our perceptions, behaviors, and interactions. As therapists, understanding cultural differences is crucial, not just for building rapport with clients, but for ensuring that therapy is truly effective. In today's episode, we'll introduce the work of Gerard Hofstede, a Dutch social psychologist whose groundbreaking research in cultural sociology gave us a framework for understanding how cultures differ. We'll explore Hofstede's 6 cultural dimensions, what they mean, and how they apply to therapy. Let's begin. Gerard Hofstede was a Dutch social psychologist best known for researching how cultural values influence workplace behavior. While his work initially focused on organizational psychology, it quickly became evident that his findings had broader applications, particularly in education, international relations, and mental health. Hofstede's research was based on one of the most extensive cultural studies ever conducted. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, he analyzed data from IBM employees across more than 70 countries. His goal was to identify patterns in cultural values that shape behavior, communication, and decision-making. The result of his work was Hofstede's cultural dimensions theory, a model that identifies 6 fundamental dimensions that differentiate cultures. Although initially designed for corporate settings, these dimensions offer profound insights for therapists working with clients from diverse backgrounds. Now, let's break down these 6 dimensions and see how they apply to mental health and therapy. Let's explore Hofstede's 6 cultural dimensions. Here they are. Number 1, power distance, the role of hierarchy. Power distance refers to how a society perceives and accepts inequality in power. In high power distance cultures, authority figures are respected, and hierarchy is seen as a natural part of society. In low power distance cultures, people tend to value equality and challenge authority more readily. Clients from high power distance cultures may see the therapist as an authoritative expert rather than a collaborative partner. They might expect more directive guidance rather than open-ended discussions. Clients from low-power distance cultures might prefer an egalitarian approach, expecting the therapist to be a facilitator rather than an authority figure. For example, a client from a high-power distance culture may hesitate to question the therapist's suggestions, even if they feel uncomfortable with them. They often call the therapist by their last name or title, which implies authority and distance. A therapist aware of this dynamic can encourage open dialogue, ensuring the client's voice is heard. Number 2, individualism versus collectivism, the role of community. This dimension measures whether people see themselves as independent individuals or as part of a larger group. Individualist cultures, like the US, Canada, and Western Europe, prioritize personal achievements and self-expression. Collectivist cultures, such as East Asia, Latin America, and the Middle East, emphasize family, community, and social harmony. Individualist clients may focus on personal growth, self-discovery, and independence as therapeutic goals. Collectivist clients may prioritize group harmony, family obligations, and maintaining social relationships over personal ambitions. A therapist working with a collectivist client should consider family expectations and social responsibilities when discussing treatment plans, whereas with an individualist client, personal aspirations might take center stage. This dimension is so important that I dedicated a full upcoming episode to it. Number 3, uncertainty avoidance index, comfort with ambiguity. This dimension assesses how comfortable a culture is with uncertainty and ambiguity. Cultures with high uncertainty avoidance like Greece, Portugal, and Japan prefer structure, clear rules, and predictability. Low uncertainty avoidance cultures like the US, the UK, and Scandinavia are more comfortable with ambiguity, flexibility, and risk taking. Clients from high uncertainty avoidance cultures may struggle with open ended discussions and vague goals. They might prefer structured therapy with concrete action plans. They may go better with instruction rather than reflection. Clients from low uncertainty avoidance cultures might feel more comfortable with exploratory, flexible, and abstract discussions. For instance, a client from a high uncertainty avoidance culture might feel uneasy with an existential therapy approach that doesn't provide clear-cut solutions, whereas a client from a low uncertainty avoidance culture might thrive in that setting. Number 4, masculinity versus femininity, the role of gender norms. This dimension reflects whether a culture values traditionally masculine traits such as competition, achievement, and assertiveness, or traditionally feminine traits such as cooperation, care, and quality of life. Keep in mind that it's about a societal trait rather than masculine or feminine dominance. Clients from masculine cultures like Japan, Germany, and the US may see mental health struggles as a sign of weakness and resist emotional vulnerability. Clients from feminine cultures such as Sweden, the Netherlands, and Costa Rica may be more open to discussing emotions and prioritizing well-being over achievement. For example, a male client from a highly masculine culture may struggle to express vulnerability in therapy, believing emotional struggles should be dealt with privately. A culturally aware therapist might normalize emotional expression and challenge rigid gender norms gently. Number 5, long-term versus short-term orientation, the role of time perspective. This dimension differentiates between cultures that value long-term planning and perseverance, like China, Japan, and South Korea, and those that emphasize immediate results and tradition like the Middle East and North Africa. Clients from long-term oriented cultures may be more patient with slow therapeutic progress and focus on gradual self-improvement. Clients from short-term oriented cultures may expect quick solutions and immediate relief from symptoms. A therapist working with a long-term oriented client might introduce mindfulness or gradual behavioral changes, whereas with a short-term oriented client, a more solution-focused approach may be necessary. Number 6, indulgence versus restraint, the role of enjoyment. This dimension measures the extent to which a culture encourages pleasure and enjoyment. Indulgent cultures, like the US, Mexico, and Australia, encourage self-gratification, leisure, and personal happiness. Restrained cultures like Russia, China, and Egypt place greater value on self-discipline and delayed gratification. Clients from indulgent cultures may prioritize self-care, enjoyment, and personal well-being as therapeutic goals. Clients from restrained cultures might view self-care as selfish and struggle with relaxation or pleasure. A therapist working with a client from a restrained culture may need to address the guilt associated with prioritizing their own well-being. Why this matters for therapists? Understanding Hofstede's cultural dimensions helps therapists in many ways. It can help them avoid cultural misunderstandings that could disrupt the therapeutic process. It helps them to adapt communication styles to match clients' cultural expectations. They may choose to set culturally appropriate goals that align with the client's values, and they can build trust by showing cultural awareness and sensitivity. By integrating these dimensions into their practice, therapists can create a therapeutic space where clients feel truly understood and supported. Thank you for joining me today as we explored Hofstede's cultural dimensions and their impact on therapy. We've seen how cultural values shape perspectives on power, individualism, uncertainty, societal gender role tendencies, time, and indulgence. In the next episode, we'll go deeper into how these cultural dimensions influence specific mental health experiences. I hope you'll join me as we continue to explore how culture shapes the way we understand and approach mental health. See you next time.